So, this is going to be a bit different than what we normally do, but I figured it'd be a bit interesting to take a look at anyways. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure exactly what's been going on over these last few days, but I figure we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that's been happening. You're going to have to excuse me for a moment. I'm going to need to set up some stuff. I figured I'd just start this so that way people don't start leaving because it's taking too long. So give me a second. We're going to take a look at some stuff. Don't mind that. So right now I'm just going to be... Let's find this. This is the one we'll use today. Okay, so give me a second. I'm setting this up right now. Game capture. Copy this. Give me a second. I'm setting up chat right now. This is why I tried to do this. Like I said, this is a 30-minute live stream. This is a short one. It's kind of been bothering me lately. Just to clarify my situation on YouTube right now. I'm still uploading every day, like I said I would be. That's not changing at all. Let me test chat real quick. Okay, so that's not even working. Give me a second. Okay, so that is working. So, okay, audio's working, we're good. Chat's up, Streamlabs is up. Let me check my widgets really quick just to make sure everything's working. This is going to be a short stream, so we're not going to be too long. Cool. Subbed. Cool. Now, we're going to add in a couple things very shortly. Oh, fuck berries. This was the wrong thing. Copy. Control-V. Copy. Control-V. And then where's my little audio thing? Audio. Okay, so... We're here. This is our thing. Let me check to make sure it's headset. Okay. Cool, we're up. So excuse me for one moment while I set this up. This is going to be there for a second. So, there's been a lot of weird stuff that's been happening lately. I'm going to show some stuff that you're probably not going to like. This isn't a reflection of what's happening on my channel. My channel's not changing. I want to make that very clear. I'm just going to keep doing it at best. But YouTube takes this kind of taking a very...
Come please join the dance floor. Welcome all aboard. Welcome one and all, now please just come in.
One moment. So... YouTube lately has taken a very, very strange turn in some of the stuff that it's doing. We should be all set up now. You guys need to stop fucking spazzing out. You don't need to hear what I was saying there, as we're talking to myself. So, let's check this out. So, let's start from square one. YouTube lately has been doing some really, really weird shit, to say the least. I've been watching a bunch of people talking about it. I've been doing some of my own research into it. There's a lot of really, really weird, kind of shady shit going on. Well, let's start with the fun stuff, right? Let's start with something very, very simple. We'll do a basic display capture here for a moment, and we will hide this beneath the two. There we go. There's a little basic screen capture. Give me 2 seconds to grab the. Sorry. I know, not very well set up, but this is the last minute thing I decided I'd do. All right, so here's our little fucking trippy as balls thing. Maybe we'll change that to a window capture, actually. Cancel. Remove. Don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. We're gonna go to a window capture. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So this is kind of interesting. For those of you who aren't aware, there are some things that have been happening lately that have been a tiny, tiny bit off with specific YouTubers. So this is what the YouTubers that people are beginning to think may have possibly been pushed by YouTube. For those of you who don't know, YouTube lately has taken to intentionally pushing specific creators who aren't necessarily, who weren't popular and weren't really doing anything beforehand. people are just kind of coming out of nowhere and randomly getting millions and millions of views and thousands of subs out of nowhere. And there's a lot of people who are kind of thinking that this may be a plant because of the way Streamlabs works. So this person here is saying, okay, so I've been looking at this all day and have the video recommended to me. In the last 4 days, she's gained 700k subs on YouTube and amassed millions of views. In less than a week's time, she's also gained more than 100,000 new instant followers. There are already several Stan accounts dedicated to pushing her content. This very well could be a manufactured influencer being pushed by investors, which is a thing that has supposedly been happening on YouTube for a while. Now, we're going to take a look, Google, at, what's the name of that one site? Social Blade for a second. And I want to show you guys something that's very, very strange. This doesn't just happen. Alright, on YouTube, this doesn't just happen. All YouTubers have to at least work a bit harder than this chick has had to do anything. And it's getting people a little bit skeptical. So, we'll look for her channel. I believe it's just Jelen Eliana. This is just step one, by the way, and I just this is very interesting. It's been very, very strange. So there she is. We're going to click on her. So out of nowhere, take a look at this. So she has huge random boosts in subscribers. There's not enough details. So she's gained all these so quickly that Social Blade can't even show the stuff. It doesn't have enough data to actually show stuff over time. So you see here, out of nowhere, it just spikes. There's no real explanation for this outside of what people are believing it to be investors pushing specific content creators. Which is interesting. Very interesting. This has been something that people have been worrying about for a while. Right? Because you have these creators who really haven't been doing much, you know, at all, really. Who come out of nowhere and basically hit everyone with random video that suddenly gets thousands and thousands and thousands of views, and in this case millions of views, which is basically for a random YouTuber that's not being pushed by anyone to come out of nowhere. It's very odd, and it's pretty obvious. It has Reddit kind of up in a tizzy right now. Everyone's freaking out about it. There's only 2 total videos, which is very, very strange. The exponential growth that she's had is very, as this person says down here, it's very sketchy. It's not normal. That's not something that just happens on YouTube. And I want to make that very, very clear. Even back when I was in my heyday, it took me a long time to get that much support. And in the span of, I believe they said something around the lines of a couple of days, she got thousands of subs. Let me check the Reddit again. Somebody's been doing more research on this than I have. So millions of views in the last 4 days. 700k followers in the last 4 days. And there are Stan accounts, which are basically, for those of you who aren't aware what a Stan account is, it's just another account advertising someone else's content. That's all it is. Usually set up by the person or by investors who are invested in a specific channel. It just seems a little odd. Something is definitely off there, and I agree with whoever posted this. This isn't quite right. Something's a bit strange here. So, the other thing that's been happening lately on YouTube is they've been trying to childproof the whole site, right? Everyone knows this. They have, like, the YouTube Kids thing that they tried to make, whatever. They're very much pushing they're pushing political ideologies into a site that's supposed to be about the individual creator. Search up on YouTube, actually 3 vids. She has 3 vids now. When was her last video up at? I'm curious now. I want to check up her channel. Give me a second. YouTube. Let's take up Jan. What's her fucking name? I don't even remember her name. So let's take a look at Janelle. So here's the other thing that interests me about this, right? We're going to take a look at Why Do I Live in a Van, 3.5 million views. So we're going to click on a video. We're not going to show it because I don't want to watch this fucking garbage. So there are a bunch of people. This guy named It's a Gundam, who I suggest you watch if you're slightly interested in this topic. We're going to show that window. Give me one moment. Window capture. Boop, boop. Take a look at this. This kind of interests me. He's showing a bunch of comments of people saying, why am I subbed to this person, so on and so forth. He did a bit more research than I have on the matter so far. But it's very, very strange. So, these are all comments explaining why, like, they were like, why am I subbed to this person? I don't get why I'm subbed to this. I didn't subscribe to this channel. Why am I auto-subbed to this channel? I've never seen it in my life. I was automatically subscribed to her. YouTube has forced people to subscribe without their knowledge. Maybe YouTube is suddenly subscribing people to her even though they didn't subscribe. Is artificially inflating her. So, yeah, people are pissed. I mean, there's pages of this. Like, this isn't the one page. There's hundreds of comments saying this. So, this is... There's a lot going on. It's very, very... It's a very sketchy situation in general. And YouTube's pushing this creator. Which is odd. Very odd. Because YouTube doesn't randomly push new creators like that. At all. Unless they're invested in them. Which does happen from time to time. This person did a lot more research than I did on it, so if you want to take a look at his video, it's just called The Dark Age of YouTube Has Begun. But yeah, so this is... I mean, this is what she does. She shows herself in her fucking little van or whatever. And that's... that. Like, that's all she does. There are people here who are like... After being referred to her, I can totally see why this channel blew up, whatever. It seems like there are some people who are very much into this. Good for them. I'm not. Because this is a very obvious show of favoritism, right? This is a new creator coming out of nowhere. Who hasn't really put time into the channel while they live in a van. Big fucking whoop. I've watched their videos. I'm not going to show their audio because I'm not going to get copyrighted for this shit. She's not that interesting. I've known people who've lived in vans before. It's really not as big of a deal as people like to make it out to be, unfortunately. It's kind of just, if you're broke, it's something that you do. There's people who live in RVs. So, next part. This is the fun part, right? This is where we get into the really interesting stuff. So, you know how YouTube loves to push its political ideologies. Let's take a look at this. So, we're going to... So, let's take... This is... So, let me explain before we get into this. This guy was supposedly bullied online. A bunch of homophobic shit was supposedly said to him. Whatever. It happens. You're on the fucking internet, kid. Like, it's... Get over it. I'm sorry. Anyways, we're gonna go on and listen to this for a bit. That's what he describes this as. So, let's stop for a second. Let me explain what happened. This guy, this specific YouTuber Crowder, made a video on another person's opinion, and this started a whole shitstorm where this person was apparently, I guess they're gay. I don't follow them, so I don't know. This causes a whole shitstorm. YouTube decides that they're not going to pull this guy off, thankfully. None of this guy's here who's complaining about being harassed. None of his personal information was shared. The guy who's quote-unquote harassed him did not tell his viewers to go harass him. But that's not enough for this guy, I guess. This is the whole issue, and this is the thing is, this guy doesn't realize this. YouTube is actually slowly kind of pushing this mentality already. We already have a new policy on YouTube where you're not going to be allowed to talk about other YouTubers. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this. You're not actually allowed to talk about other content creators anymore. I'm actually going to pull that up in a separate link. Give me one moment. YouTube anti-drama. There we go. So, let's... What was it called? YouTube new rules. So, there is a new set of rules. First of all, creator on harassment rules, I believe. They're drafting these creator... These new rules, which we're going to get to right now. Give me 2 seconds. We're going to open this up here. So, YouTube is currently working on new policies that will prevent creator-on-creator harassment. This is actually being worked on because of situations like this guy says, where people, quote-unquote, harass somebody off the internet. I hate saying this, I hate being this guy, but the internet is a place where people come to fucking banter and have fun, right? Like, when I come on the internet, I engage in shitposting, okay? I've been on 4chan, I've been on YouTube comment threads, I've been on the Steam forums. It is shitposting to a T. People are trolling, people are having fun, they're bantering. If you can't handle the banter, the fact of the matter is you should not be on these sites. That is the way it is. YouTube is basically trying to stop people from talking about other YouTubers. Creator-on-creator harassment is what they're calling it. Basically, if you go after another channel and say, fuck this channel, harass this channel is a piece of shit, blah, 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 your video can get pulled down. Sounds great in practice, but then you realize that 90% of YouTube are creators, quote-unquote, exposing each other. The most popular videos on YouTube are YouTubers, quote-unquote, exposing each other. So, nowadays, you're not even allowed to talk about other channels. If once these come into effect, and these new rules are enforced, you won't be allowed to talk about other channels. So if you have a problem with their channel, you have a problem with something they do, you have a problem with something that they've said or they've done, they can technically flag your video as creator-on-creator harassment. Currently. That is what we are led to believe. It is a terrible idea. It is being invested because of crybabies like this Carlos Maza guy. It's happening because of people who don't know how to take banter. I'm a banter enthusiast. I fucking engage in shitposting. I absolutely fucking love good banter. Even if the two sides never get to a good agreement and it just devolves into shit flinging. I enjoy that. I engage in it, okay? It is a very entertaining to be part of. So, this guy, he's complaining about being harassed. We're gonna finish watching this. It doesn't, no, if he's not encouraging people to harass you, he's not harassing you, period. That's not how this works. People like this guy are the reason YouTube is going to get raked over, basically fucked on a fucking, like a table because of people like this. Because they can't take the banter. You have to understand, you're on a public site. People are going to talk about you. I'm sure people have said negative things about my channel before as well. I know there's other SCP creators who don't necessarily like me the most because I don't like SCP anymore. So... So, this is the part that really gets me. Is this here. Now, look, let's all admit, that wasn't the nicest thing, right? But again, you are on the internet. It goes back down to... There's a very, very obvious... Oh, you guys can't hear him? Can you actually not hear him? Well, give me a second then.
And I had to do was calling me a lispy queer unsolicited in front of a massive audience, and I had to deal with the abuse that resulted as of that. YouTube is essentially saying that the price for participating in political discussions on YouTube is that you have to be willing to accept people criticizing you for being gay and for being Hispanic.
So that's his issue with what happened. He got called a lispy queer on the internet. Now look, we can all admit that's not the nicest thing ever, right? I mean, I wouldn't do that personally. But when you're going to talk about political opinions, which is, by the way, what started this, they were talking about political opinions, you have to expect some sort of fallback. People are going to get annoyed, people are going to get frustrated, etc. He got called a lispy queer. So here's the whole thing, like I mentioned earlier, YouTube is trying to turn YouTube into a safe space. That's what we have right now. YouTube is trying to protect its creators. But by protecting certain creators, they're also fucking over other creators, namely those who actually want to banter. For example, there was this thing called Internet Blood Sports a few years back. It was all about the banter. It was people calling each other, faggots and terrible, terrible slangs. People loved it. People enjoyed it. The #1 trending stream on YouTube for a while was Internet Blood Sports. That was about political ideology. It was about people discussing race realism. I'm not going to get political about it. I don't fucking care what people think. I have my own opinions and you have your own opinions. I don't fucking care. I'm just here to point out how stupid this is. You cannot censor people just because they say one or two mean things on the internet, right? That's not how this works. This is the internet. And sites like YouTube are trying to basically censor free speech. Free speech is not going to be a thing on YouTube anymore at this rate because of people like this Carlos Maza guy who have to go and bitch and moan when somebody calls them a mean name on the internet. Now, there's a lot more to this. I'm not going to get too much further into this. It's just stupid. The entire situation is stupid. He's complaining somebody called him a mean name, and then he's saying that YouTube should be cracking down harder on it, which is going to screw over anybody who makes even a joke. Like, it's ridiculous. You could get in trouble for a joke on YouTube at this point. You already have people getting in trouble for jokes at this point. Not to say Monkey Jones is a good person because he fucking cheated on his girlfriend, but he got deplatformed for making a joke about a school shooter, making joke videos about a school shooter. Now, he's still a shitty person, but he shouldn't have been deplatformed for making a joke about a school shooter. That's not how YouTube works. It's the same thing for people who do have political opinions on the left or the right. You can't kick them off YouTube because they say a few mean things or they disagree with you. That's not how this kind of stuff works. It's not how the internet works. The internet is a ground for banter. You have anonymity here. You have people who can hide who they really are IRL, and they can see what they want here. The fact of the matter is, you do not know a person when they are speaking to you in the face. You know a person more when you do not know who they are, and they do not know who you are, because that is when they will say what they think the most. In real life, people are constantly censoring themselves. They have to, because they're at work. They don't want things to blow back on them IRL. It's why anonymity is so important. Aminosity, is so important. Animosity? That was the completely wrong word. You get the point. It's stupid. It's stupid to censor these things. It's stupid to say this person should be kicked off because he said one mean thing about me. That's not how this works, unfortunately. It shouldn't be how it works. I have been called plenty of mean things on the internet. You don't see me running around screaming ban people, right? That's not how the internet works.
That's an insane policy. YouTube knows it's insane. They know that this isn't something they're planning to enforce. They're making excuses to avoid doing the difficult thing, which is dealing with a monster that they spent years creating.
So I want to ask you about the concern that some people have about enabling these powerful large tech companies to define what is acceptable speech on their platforms. Are you concerned about enabling tech companies to make those decisions?
Totally. It's a legitimate concern. And as a queer person, I recognize that, big corporations have not been particularly friendly to us in the past.
Bullshit! No! Yes, they have. They've been pandering you for the last 10 years at this point. Holy shit! Bull! Holy fuck! I didn't even hear that part in the video the first time I watched it. Oh my god! Bull! That is so much bull! What are you on? Nowadays, if you're a straight white guy, you're Satan. What are you on about? Holy shit, am I this isn't political, right? But, look at the way YouTube treats its straight creators compared to its, lesbian, bisexual, or queer, whatever, creators. Have you been on YouTube recently? Gay creators get a lot of special privileges. It's same for Twitch. That's not, oh god, that's such, oh my god. Are you serious right now? Did he actually say that?
And that this could really go sideways. There are a lot of speech questions that actually are messy calls, which is why I understand in general why platforms say it's tough to enforce these policies because there are a lot of gray areas.
Yes, everything should be allowed to be said, unless it's genuine death threat, like somebody's gonna fucking come murder you, which, by the way, I've been told that somebody's gonna kill me on the internet before. Not afraid of it. You know why? Don't worry, I fucking live. You have, again, you can be anonymous on here. That is your choice as a creator. It's a ridiculous idea to try to enforce speech policies, because once you enforce speech policies, and I say this about Discord, Steam, YouTube, any site whatsoever, as soon as you enforce speech policies, you do not believe in free speech. You believe in selective speech. I believe in free speech. You can say something that I absolutely hate, but that doesn't mean you don't get to say it, right? I mean, even in our Discord, we technically have that problem, right? Where we can't say specific words because it might offend people. And frankly, I'm at the point where I'm kind of done with that. It's the internet. You have to grow a backbone. Discord servers and, you know, Reddit, places like that. I understand if you want a hug box, but if you want a hug box, you shouldn't be on the internet. Or go on to sites that have very like-minded individuals as you, so that way you don't have people coming in and doing that. Don't be like YouTube and these other companies that say we support free speech, but then you actually don't, right? If you're going to support selective speech, say you're supporting selective speech. Say you don't like free speech, because you don't. You obviously don't. Not with people like this complaining about people saying certain things that hurt their feelings. Yes, it sucks when people make fun of you. I dealt with years and years of that throughout middle school and high school. I got bullied. I had the word faggot written all over my body. I looked like the fucking Riddler. Okay? Shit happens. But the fact that bullying nowadays is just calling people mean words on the internet, it's kind of pathetic. It's really, really sad. It really is. And people like this guy here, the quote-unquote let's be queer, as the guy called him, whatever, it's not... They're not making it better for anyone. If anything, what they're doing is they're turning the internet into a hug box, or trying to turn the internet into a hug box, and it's not working. And then they get mad that it doesn't work. And then YouTube gets mad when they complain about it, and then creators all start complaining about their new policies. Their new policies aren't going to do anything. They're not going to help this. Your new policies are just going to piss everyone off. And as soon as another site comes around that actually supports free speech and lets people say what they want, YouTube is going to go down to the dirt.
That is not what is happening here. YouTube is looking at clear examples of abuse and saying, it's not bad enough. And even though we might have the ability to post on YouTube and the ability to speak on these platforms, if there aren't policies to protect us from abuse, we don't have meaningful access to speech. It limits...
Here's the thing, not everything has to be meaningful on the internet. And that's what you need to understand. When somebody makes a joke like calling you a lesbian queer, or somebody calls me a dirty faggot, which they've done before, it's oftentimes a very tongue-in-cheek statement. And it's not necessarily meant to be a complete attack. But granted, this is a little bit on the meaner side, which I won't disagree with. But again, it's one of those things, you're on the internet, you have to grow a backbone. It's a huge problem I have with the Steam forums right now as well. Steam is, like, run by a bunch of fucking bleeding vaginas. You can't say anything, you can't even call someone stupid on the Steam forums. And then it randomly gets fucking, you'll get banned for being disrespectful in the community on Steam. So, yeah, and here's the thing. There's still plenty of meaningful conversation, even with people hurling insults. I've called plenty of people idiots while having a very meaningful conversation with them, right? You can swear and still have a meaningful conversation. It may not be a very professional conversation, but you can swear. I can say, what the fuck are you talking about? And then go on to explain my point. That is still a meaningful conversation if I say, what the fuck is wrong with you? You are wrong because these, and these reasons. There are still a ton of important points in there. You're just focusing on the what the fuck is wrong with you because you're 12 and have no backbone. I'm very, very interested in seeing where this specific situation goes and if YouTube decides to put forth some sort of new policy because some gay guy complained, which has happened before. I am very, very concerned about the state of this website right now. This situation, the situation with YouTube very obviously pushing creators who have not been on the site that long, who have not been working, who are people, well, there's a variety of reasons, but look at that profile and tell me what's interesting about that profile of the Jenna chick, or whatever her name is, this chick here. What's interesting about that profile? Don't say it in stream chat, because it could get us in some serious trouble. What's interesting about that to you? And I'm not going to say anything based on that, because I don't want to make any claims based on something that I don't know. But why would this specific YouTuber be suddenly getting pushed out of nowhere? Why would this casual girl with a pet snake in a van get pushed out of nowhere and get 1.6 million views in the span of 4 days. Not to mention 700,000 new followers, again in the span of 4 days. Even on videos that get millions and millions of views, Vines that go huge, that get more views than any of her videos do. Those channels do not get that many subs. So what happened? Why is this channel getting so much attention out of nowhere all of a sudden? Why is YouTube pushing this girl? Think to yourself for a moment what you see there. Think to yourself for a moment what her content is. Think for a moment what YouTube has become. And consider. Consider. Because when you see that, it does seem very, very obvious to me why YouTube would pander to a random creator. There's a variety of reasons. I'm not sure how much more I'm comfortable saying for now because I don't want to get pulled off YouTube yet. We'll see how long I last. But with that being said, this is the end of the stream. Thank you guys for watching. There's a lot more to talk about. You have to also consider the fact that demonetization and stricter creator policies have also been talked about. We have the creator-on-creator harassment thing. This stream is a bit of a mess because I don't really have a script or anything. I'm just going off and what I've been seeing. And YouTube is... I mean, a lot of people think YouTube's a fucking mess right now. YouTube is so disconnected with itself. It's less about YouTube and more about UsTube now. It's more about what YouTube thinks is acceptable. Which is why this Carlos Mazo guy is a problem. Because he is basically saying, you have to put in these guidelines to protect us YouTubers. I understand that it may be a problem for some people, but we still need those protections from abuse. When you start adding in those guidelines, you start quote-unquote protecting from abuse, you actually close a lot more dialogue than you open. And you may not even realize it. You close a lot more conversation pieces than you open. You enforce selected speech, not free speech, and those are two very, very different things. Thank you for watching the stream. A Gmod video will be up tonight to make up for this piece of shit. And, yeah, that's the end of that.